Hello. All right, so yesterday we took our math assessment or math test for Module 1, and as I said yesterday, we are very much hoping for that hard copy of that test to come in, as well as taking it on the Google form that is on our second grade webpage. So we need to be able to see your students' process, and just putting in an answer is not going to be acceptable. So I still am having parents who are sending exit tickets with the answers only. I'm going to remind you that we need to have the process that your student used to be able to come up with that answer. And I'm again going to remind you that you should not be using the standard algorithm at this point. You should be using the lessons that we are teaching, that we taught all through Module 1. Now you need to have your packet ready for the next module. We're going to be starting again on Lesson 1, but this is for second grade and Module 2. So make sure that you have that packet ready to go. We'll do this sprint in just a few minutes, but before we do that, I am going to tell you that we are going to be doing measurement in this next module, and you do need to have some type of a measuring tool, preferably one that's very simple. If you don't have a ruler at your house, you are welcome to stop by. I would be happy to check one out to you, but you do need to have a ruler that shows centimeters. We are going to be working in the metric system, and also you are going to need to have some centimeter cubes. If you don't have any at your home or access to something that measures a centimeter, you can always come in and I would be happy to check a bag out to you, or any of the teachers, your homeroom teachers as well. So let's go ahead and get started with the things that we're going to be doing today. So let's start. We're going to start by doing a happy counting, and we are going to be, I'm going to just do this a little bit different for you guys today. So we are going to start at 22, and we are going to count up. So starting at 22, counting up, and we're going to count up by ones. So that would be 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, and stop. Now we're going down. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, and back to 22. So my friends, knowing how to count forward and backward is a very important skill for second graders. This time we're going to start at 65, and we're going to count up. Ready, and 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72. We're going to stop at 72, and now we're going to count back the other direction. 72, 71, 70, 69, 68, 67, 66, 65, and we're back to where we started. So being able to count forward and back by ones is an important skill that you are going to need. I would pause the video right now, and I would take a minute or two to start counting anywhere between 1 and 100 and count up about 10 or 15 numbers, and then turn around and count back. So that's an important skill for second graders to be able to do, is counting forward and backward by ones. In this particular lesson, that is what we are focusing on. All right, so then we are going to move on to skip counting by twos. In other words, we're not going to go just 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, because that one's pretty easy. But we're going to start, say, like at 33. From 33, we're going to go up 2. So from 33, we're going up 2, which would take us to 35. So do you see that I'm adding 2? Every time I'm going from 33 to 35. Then if I went from 35, where would I go next? If I'm adding 2, where would I be next? 35, did you say 37? All right, so every time we add, or every time I give you a number, you're going to go up by 2. So from 33 to 35, I added 2. From 35, add 2 to 37. Where would I go next if I was doing that? From 37 up to what? Did you say 39? If you did, congratulations. Every time right now we are going to be adding 2. We could start anywhere when we add 2. For example, this time let's start at 57. If I started at 57 and I was going to add 2, that would put me at 59. If I was starting at 59 and I would add 2, ooh, that one's a little bit tricky. 59, 60, what would be the next one? 61. You're thinking about adding 2. So from 57 to 59, adding 2 to 61. If I added 2 to 61, where would that put me? Did you say 63? Then where? From 63 to 65. All right, so you're needing to be able to skip count by 2s, but we're not starting at 0. We are starting anywhere between 0 and 100, but I don't want you to start with 0 because that's something you've been able to do since you were in kindergarten. Let's look at, say, 86. So if we started at 86 and we were adding 2, 86 would take us to what? 88, because I'm adding 2. What would I go next? Did you say 90? Add 2. Did you say 92? Add 2 again. Did you say 94? All right, so my friends, this is something I would like you to do. You're going to stop the video, and for 2 or 3 minutes, you're going to start anywhere you want and skip count by 2s. Every time you move, you're going to be adding 2. This is an important skill to be able to do as a second grader. So skip counting, adding 2 every time. Start at any particular number that you would like. Okay, our next skill we are going to be looking at, this will help you with your sprint today. So we are going to be thinking about what comes before and what comes after a number. So if I had, say, the number 13, I want to think what number comes before 13 and what number comes after 13. So I'm thinking the number that comes before 13 would be 12, and the number that comes after 13 would be 14. So we're thinking in terms of what comes before and what comes after a number. Let's take a look at another one. Let's look at 23, skip, and then go to 25. Could you tell me what comes between 23 and 25? Well, if you said 24, you're absolutely correct. So skip counting by 1s, 23, 24, 25. But I'm looking at this case in what comes between 23 and 25. Okay, this is the skill we're going to practice for just a couple more minutes. So what if I said 76, 77? What would come after 77? Did you say 78? If you did, you're absolutely correct. What would come before 76? What number comes before 76? Well, if you have your thinking cap on and you're counting backwards by 1, did you say 75? So we're looking at the numbers that come before a particular number and after a number. That's what you're going to be doing on your sprint today. So let's try another one. Let's go 51, 52. What would come after 52? And what would come before 51? What comes after 52 and what comes before 51? If you said 53 comes after 52 and 50 comes before 51, you should give yourself a big smiley face. I'd like you to shut the video off for just a minute and practice doing numbers that come before and after. Shut the video off, pick a few numbers, and practice at home with your parent or even just with yourself. All right, so let's take a look. We are going to be doing a sprint today. We haven't done a sprint for a while, but we are going to be doing a sprint today. So this sprint is going to be showing numbers that come before, between, and after. This is the first page of your new lesson set, lesson 1, and we're in second grade, module 2. So we're looking at numbers that come before and we're looking at numbers that come after. Remember that when you do a sprint, we are going to, hang on just a second. Remember, this is how far can you get in 1 minute. So I'm going to get my timer ready, you're going to get your pencil ready, and you are going to go as far as you can on that sprint in 1 minute. Now hang on, let me get my timer ready to go. I need to get my timer set for 1 minute. Get your pencil ready to start right here and telling me what comes after 2. Ready and begin. Get as far as you can. Don't stop. Keep going. Okay, that is your time. You're going to put your pencil down. Pencil is down. Now we're going to take a look at this sprint and to see how you personally did. Let's see if I can get this so you can see the whole sprint. Let's see, so let's see if I can get that to focus in a little bit better. There we go. So I'm going to ask you to pause the video at this point. You're going to pause the video and you're going to check yourself to see how you did on the sprint. I'm not going to take the time to go over it because that's something you can do at your home. So put the, sorry about that, my phone rang. So you are going to get your pencil and check to see how you did. I'm going to leave this. You need to pause the video so you can see what the answers are. This other side is not quite as clear as I would like it. Let's see if I can't make that a little bit more clear. Push that just a little bit. All right, that's a little bit better. So you're going to check yourself and see how far did you get. Maybe you only got to here and you got all of those right. So that would be 15 that you got correct on this page. When you get finished with that, after you've corrected, I would like you to take a minute and I'd like you to do the rest. You're going to do the rest. I'm not timing you on the rest, but you need to do the practice so that you're thinking about what comes between 99 and 101. That would be 100. So you're going to finish this page all the way down to here. Then, you're going to have to pause the video to do that. Then we're going to come over to the second sprint and do exactly the same thing. So you are opening up to the second sprint after you complete the first one. And this time you're going to see if you can't improve your score. If you got 15 on the last one, maybe you could get up to, I don't know, 21, 22, or maybe even farther. Please remember that I am timing you for 1 minute. Get your pencil ready and begin. Get as far as you can. Don't stop, keep going. And that is your time, so you need to stop and put your pencil down. I'm going to switch and put the answer key for this one up. This is the second sprint, and you are going to do the same thing that you did on the first sprint. You're going to check yourself. You're going to have to put the video on pause so that you can take a look at what the answers are. And I hope this time maybe you got a little bit farther. Maybe you made it all the way down to 22. Remember, the idea is to raise your score and to do a little bit better on this one than you did on the last one. And also show what your improvement was between 15 and 22. So I did an improvement of, well, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I made an improvement of 7. All right, so I'm going to put this right where you can get a good look at it. Let's see if we can't get that focused in just a little bit better. I know that's not perfect, but also when you finish doing the correcting, I do want you to finish the rest of that sprint, practicing what comes before, after, and in between. All right, so we are now moving on to the next part of our lesson. I want you to think about when somebody wants to, if somebody wanted to decide how long something was or to measure an item. I wonder what you would do in order to be able to explain to someone, perhaps explain to someone what the length of this whiteboard marker would be. There would be a couple of ways that you could do that, but we're going to start by using some centimeter cubes. Each one of these little cubes that I'm going to use today measures about 1 centimeter. So I'm going to measure this marker. I'm going to also, okay, let's see. I need to, on my measuring, when I'm measuring something, I always want to know where should I begin that measure. So I'm going to give me well, there's where I should end the measure. Where would I begin the measure? So when I'm going to measure something, I need to think in terms of what is the beginning point of where I'm going to measure and what is an ending point of where I'm going to measure. So I'm going to be measuring my whiteboard marker, and I've given myself a starting spot and an ending spot, a beginning point and an ending point. All right, so I'm going to just put some cubes on here, and I'm going to say that this measures, let's see, here's my starting point, here's my ending point, that this measures, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to say that this measures 8 centimeters. What do you think about what I've done here? Does that seem like an accurate measure using my centimeter cubes, that this would measure about 8 centimeters? If you said, no, Miss Starr, that's not an accurate measure, I would have to agree with you. This is not an accurate measure of this marker. There's a big problem that I have. Did you notice that in between each one of these cubes I have a big gap? I'm not getting an accurate measure because there's space in between that I have not accounted for. So if I wanted to solve that problem, I'm going to have to use more cubes. I'm going to use more cubes, and I think I'm going to need to get rid of those gaps. So I'm going to put that over here for just a minute. I'm still going to start at my starting point. Okay, but I'm going to make the cubes match touch each other, because I think that's going to change how my measuring is going to look. So I'm not quite there yet because I have to get all the way to my end point. So I have to start at my beginning point and end until I'm either right on top of that end point or as close to it as I can get. Oh, that's pretty close. It's a little tiny bit longer, but that's okay. It can be a little tiny bit longer because we're just doing an estimate and getting it to the closest centimeter. So let's count and see how many centimeter cubes I have when I am measuring my whiteboard marker. Okay, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's a much more accurate measure of my marker to be about, not perfect, but about, because we're just doing an estimate, about 12 centimeters. Do you see the difference between this way and the way that I did it just a minute ago? Would this be an accurate way to measure? Yeah, it would be pretty close. So I'm going to say yes. This would be a much better way to measure this magic marker. So I'm going to get it as close to my starting line as I possibly can and as close to my ending line as I can. You can see that this one goes over just a little bit, but it's pretty close to that 12th one, and I would count that as 12. So we always want to go to the closest number that we can. All right, so let's try measuring something else. I'm going to take my centimeter cubes off, and this time I have this little, I use these little stars in my class. It's a little set of stars that we use for different things, and I want to measure the length of my star strip here. I know Miss Star, and she uses stars. So I need to have, when I'm going to measure, I need to have an ending point. Where am I going to stop my measure? And a beginning point. Where am I going to begin my measure? So with that, now I'm going to take my centimeter cubes, and I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the marker. I'm going to see how many centimeter cubes it's going to take to be able to measure this. So what do you think about what I've done? Is that going to give me an accurate measure? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I'm 8 again. Are those about the same size? Nope, they're not about the same size. That marker is definitely longer than that little strip. So 8 is not a good measure. So how am I going to solve that problem? I'm going to have to push those cubes together so that there are no gaps. I'm pushing those cubes together so there are no gaps. And I want to get it as close as I possibly can. Oh, that's pretty darn close to my beginning point and my ending point. So now let's count and see about, because this is just an estimate, about how many centimeters long is my star strip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. About 10 centimeters. And notice that I am using the abbreviation cm. Cm is the abbreviation for centimeters. So I now have measured 2 different items, and I'm getting as close as I possibly can to the measurement for that. So we're going to try one more. We're going to try one more, because this is what, by the way, what I just did for you is an example of what you're going to need to do on your exit ticket today. So let's take a look at this. This is an ink pad that I have in my classroom. Do I want to do that ink pad? Oh, you know what? Let's do this. We're going to do this one. This is a sticky note pad. Does that show up very good? Yeah, that's not too bad. So there's my sticky note pad. I have to have a place where I'm going to end my measure and a place where I'm going to begin my measure. So I have to have a beginning point and an ending point. This is where I'm going to start, and this is where I'm going to end. I'm going to take my cubes. This time I'm going to be very careful that I have no gaps. I'm going to get it as close to that line as I can. Don't want any gaps, because gaps would not give me an accurate measure. Excuse me, I'm having a hard time with my voice this morning. Oh, I'm looking right there. Is there enough room that I could fit another one? Let's just try and put another one in there. It goes over just a tiny little bit, but not too far. So if I was going to be estimating about how long this sticky note pad is, that's still very, very close. There's just a little sliver that's hanging over. So in my estimate, I would say that my sticky note pad is about, well, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. About 8 centimeters. It's pretty close to 8 centimeters, maybe just a tiny bit more, but pretty close. All right, and with that, I'm going to take these off, and we'll get started now with your packet. So let's start with the problem set, if we could, please. I'm going to get everything straight here so I can start with the problem set. So here's my problem set. We've done the sprints, and we're going to come over, and it says that you're going to use centimeter cubes to find the length of each object. Let's see if we can get that in a little bit clearer. I'm going to move that down a little bit more so you can hopefully see that better. So we have a picture of a fork and a spoon that are, there's the word about how many centimeters long. So I'm going to put some centimeter cubes on here for you. And you can count them. It's a little difficult to count them on the screen, but I think you can do it. I got to get it as close as I can. So I'm starting at my beginning point. Oops, start at your beginning point, Miss Star. And it's just a teeny weeny little bit over, just a teeny bit. This is a little bit deceiving on the video camera. It's not giving a true accurate picture, but you can see that I am pretty close to where I need to be here. And your job is to count how many centimeter cubes did I use, and then you're going to write that on that line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Did you say there was 6 centimeter cubes? If you did, congratulations, you did that exactly right. And it's hanging over just a tiny bit, but it's not at the halfway point yet. So I'm going to do my estimate by going to the number that's closest in the back. Okay, we're going to do that same thing for the hammer. And also for the comb. I'm going to put these on for you so you can take a look at what you're going to be doing, and then you're going to write your answers in. Let's see, I've got to get it as close as I can. Okay, here is the hammer and the comb. Hanging over just a little bit, but it's not at the halfway point, so I think we'll be fine. If it was at the halfway point, we'd have to do a different estimate, which we'll talk about later. All right, did you do these two? You need to pause the video and count those. Count them on your own, my friends. That's your job. Okay, did you say that the hammer was about 5 centimeters? If you did, congratulations. And the comb was about 7 centimeters. It's a tiny bit longer than 7 centimeters, but it's pretty darn close to that. It's just not quite at the halfway point. All right, so I'm going to take those off, and we're going to go to the next page. The next page, this time we have a shovel. Of course, that's probably a doll shovel. It's not a very, it's like a doll shovel. It's not very big. But nevertheless, we're going to line everything up, starting at my beginning point and my end point. And you're going to have to count them and decide about how many centimeters long is that shovel. About how many centimeters long is that shovel. Okay, pause the video so you can do it. And stop. All right, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'm looking at this one. It's still not quite halfway, so we're going to keep that at 9. If that was at the halfway point, I would have to go up to the next number, but it's not quite at the halfway point. And it's a little tiny bit deceiving from the angle that you're looking at it from, but from my perspective, when I'm looking at it straight on, it is just a little bit, not quite at the halfway mark. All right, so let's take a look at problem number 5. So we've got 3 word problems that we're going to do, and we are definitely going to be using cubes. We're going to be using cubes along with read, draw, and write. Read, draw, and write. Okay, so the head of a grasshopper is 2 centimeters long. So I'm going to draw myself a bar model that is all exactly the same thing as a number bond. It's just using a square. So the head of the grasshopper is 2 centimeters long. The rest of the grasshopper's body is 7 centimeters long. So I'm going to say the head was 2 centimeters and the body was 7 centimeters. So the body was 7 centimeters and the head was 2 centimeters. So this is the body and this is the head of my insect. We are being asked what is the total length. In other words, how long is this insect? So I'm making myself a number bond. I'm trying to find out how long is the whole insect. What is the length of that insect? All right, so I need to do myself a number sentence. Can you set up a number sentence to decide what is the total length of this insect, the head of this grasshopper? Pause the video. Write yourself a number sentence that goes with this number bond or with this bar model. Okay, coming back, did you say that 7 centimeters plus 2 centimeters would give me the total number of centimeters for the length of this grasshopper? Well, here's a simple basic fact. 7 plus 2 would be 9. Therefore, the grasshopper would be 9 centimeters long. And you do need to write a sentence describing your answer. So I have read the story problem, I have drawn it out, and then I am showing in an equation. That's the same part as the drawing, so I'm setting this up to solve it. And my number sentence when I write would be the grasshopper. This is an important part. If you're not doing this part, I noticed yesterday on the test for the students that were in face-to-face, they were having a hard time with this part. The grasshopper is 9 centimeters long. So there are 3 parts to this word problem. I have a number bond, which isn't a bar model. I have an equation, and I have a sentence that's describing what the answer to this question is. What is the total length of the grasshopper? The grasshopper is 9 centimeters long. What did I use in my number bond? Well, I knew that the head was 2 centimeters, the body was 7 centimeters, and that gave me a total of 9. How did I solve that? 7 plus 2 equals 9. There's a lot to do when you have a word problem to do. So let's take a look at number 6. Number 6 says, I have a screwdriver that is 19 centimeters. Oh, my screwdriver is 19 centimeters. The handle, that's going to be an important key word there, the handle is 5 centimeters long. So I'm using cubes, I'm circling the numbers, I'm underlining the question, what is the length of the top of the screwdriver? What is the length of the top? So here's the handle, and I've got to think about what is the length of the top of the screwdriver. So the length of the screwdriver is 19 centimeters. The handle is 5 centimeters. So I'm going to start by drawing myself a number bond, and I'm thinking about what do I know? Do I know the total length of my screwdriver? Well, I think I do. It's 19 centimeters. That would be the total length. And I should be always labeling things. So 19 centimeters is the total length of that screwdriver. And I do know about the handle. How long was that handle? The handle was 5 centimeters. So what I'm trying to figure out is what is the length of the top. So here's the top. I need to figure out what is the length of the top. So with that, I'm going to think about what I would need to do to get there. So I'm thinking if I set this up, I could say 19 take away 5 would give me the length of the top, because I know that this plus this equals this. Therefore, 19 take away 5 would give me the other part of my number bond. So I'm thinking about this problem. I am going to make this an easy addition problem by breaking 19 into 10 and 9 using strategies that we learned in the first module. I know that it's easy to take 10 away or take 5 away from 10, which gives me 5. I still have 9 that I need to work with. 9 plus the 5 that was left. 9 plus 5, a basic fact, would give me 14. So I am thinking that the head of that of that screwdriver would be 14 centimeters. So I'm going to add that then to my number bond. So 14 plus 5 is 19, and 19 take away 5 is 14. So that would be the total length. And I still have one part that I haven't done yet. I need to write a number. I need to write what I found out from solving my number bond and my equation. So what did we find out? Let's see. Sorry, I didn't do that very good. I wrote top. I was thinking that word. The top is, what did we say? 14 centimeters. The top is 14 centimeters. I did just about run out of space there. All right, so now we are going to try B. How much shorter is the handle than the top? How much shorter is the handle? That whole thing is the question. How much shorter is the handle than the top? Well, let's see what I know about the handle and the top. So let's do a bar model. I know that the top, what did we decide about the top? Does the top measure 14 centimeters? The top is 14 centimeters. Do I know something about the handle? Yeah, I remember that handle is 5 centimeters. This is the handle. And I want to know that it would be this much shorter. So I'm trying to find out how much shorter that would be. Can you set that problem up to solve it? I have shown you the bar model on how to do this. So we know that the top is 14 centimeters. We know that the handle is 5 centimeters, but I'm trying to find out how much shorter the handle is than the top. Okay, I'm going to give you a minute, pause the video, solve that problem, and write your sentence, and then join me back and we'll see how you did. All right, let's take a look and see how you did. So I know that if I take 14 and I take away 5, won't that give me the other part of my bar model? It will, because I know that a number bond is always in a circle. This number plus this number will give me this. This number take away this number will give me that. And this number take away this number will give me this. All right, so let's set up our problem with 14. I'm going to take away the 5 centimeters so that I can find out how much shorter the handle is than the top. Okay, did you do this? Did you break this apart into 10 and 4? That's pretty easy. That's because it's easy to take 10, take away 5, gives me 5. And then I have 4 that I still need to consider. 4 plus the 5, that was my difference up above, gives me 9. So would 9 centimeters be what I'm looking for? That the handle is the handle is 9 centimeters shorter than the top. How do I know that? Because 5 plus 9 is 14, and 14 take away 5 is 9. So I need to write a sentence, and I would say the handle is 9 centimeters shorter than the top. Okay, there you go. All right, lots of word problems in this particular lesson. Let's go on to the next page. All right, so this is your homework page. I would like you to try this page on your own. And let's see, we're going to do this page, and we're also going to do the next page. So you have problems 1 through 4 that you're going to do on your own, and you're going to also do problems 5 through 7 on your own. Do not do the exit ticket yet. So we're getting pretty close to the end of this lesson. You're going to put this on pause, do these next 2 pages on the homework page, and then we're going to come back together and take a look and see how you did. So put it on pause, please. Hey, are you back? Okay, here we go. So when you were measuring, count each centimeter cube to find the length of each object. When you were measuring, did you make sure that you were paying attention to the beginning point and the end point of where you were measuring? So remember we talked about, whoops, my star, that's pretty sloppy. We talked about always knowing where you're going to start your measure and where you're going to end your measure. So that would be important on each one of these problems. 1, 2, 3, 4 centimeters. The crayon is about 4 centimeters. The pencil is, here's my beginning point, here's my end point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 centimeters if you got that one. Now this one's a little bit tricky because notice that they have more centimeter cubes than what we need. Here's our beginning point and here's our end point. It's very important that you pay attention to where the measuring starts. I'm going to highlight that in yellow. Where does the measuring start and where does the measuring end? So if you said that this one was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 centimeters, if you said 5 centimeters, you weren't thinking clearly because this centimeter is way beyond the end of that clothespin. If you said 4 centimeters, you are absolutely correct. Now this one, they are really trying to mess you up. They are seeing if you're paying attention to where your beginning point is and where your end point is. If you said that this was measuring 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, if you said 14 centimeters, were you paying attention to the beginning point and the end point? If you did, I'm going to say, oops, nope, pay attention to the beginning point and the end point. The length of this marker is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 10 centimeters. How do I know that? I have to start at the beginning and I have to make sure that I'm paying attention to the end point. So this one and this one and this one and that one should not be a part of your measurement. The same as with the problem previous to that, that centimeter cube should not be a part of your measurement. If you had trouble with that, make sure you go back and rethink that. Now, we are going to, you had some problems that were on the back. Okay, so Richard had 43 centimeter cubes and Henry has 30 centimeter cubes. What is the length of the cubes all together? So I have set up the bar model. Here's Henry at 30, here's Richard at 43, and all together there are 73. How did I come up with that? What did I do to solve that problem? Well, I started with my 43 and I'm adding the 30 that was Henry's. So Richard's combined with Henry's would give me what I am looking for. So I am going to add those together. So there are several ways that you could do that. You could break this apart and say that I have 40 and 30. Here's my number bond. This is a very easy addition problem when I am adding 30 plus 40. I can just about do that in my head. 30 plus 40 would give me 70, plus the 3 that I didn't use yet would give me 73. You could have done it this way. You also could have added your 1s and your 1s, which would have given you 3, and your 10s and your 10s. 4 10s and 3 10s is 7 10s. Either way would work for me. And then, of course, you needed to write a sentence that Richard and Henry's cubes measure 73 centimeters all together. Richard and Henry's cubes are 73 centimeters long together. All right, so there's 3 parts to your word problem. Your number bond, your equation, how did you solve it, whether you solved it this way or this way would be all right, and a sentence explaining your answer. Sorry, that didn't turn out so good. All right, so let's take a look at Marissa's loaf of bread at 54 centimeters. And she cut off, in other words, some went away. She cut off 7 centimeters of the bread. What is the length of the bread she has left? All right, so here we go. I've set up my number bond, and hopefully you've done that too. And here's my equation, 54 take away 7. I've broken 54 into 10. This is what we did yesterday. So 10, I'm taking 10 out, and I'm counting back 10, which put me at 44. So now I can say 7 or 10 take away 7 is 3, and 44 plus that 3 gives me 47. This one would be hard to do the way we did the one just previous because I can't take 7 away from 4. So I do have to come down and break this number apart into 10s and 1s. So here I have, she had 47 centimeters left after she got finished, and I should write she had 47 centimeters left. Do I always have to write that sentence? I do. She had 47 centimeters left. So here's where you are going to read, draw, and this is part of your drawing. This is the set up and solve, and then write. So read, draw, and write. 3 parts: number bond, equation, and a sentence describing answering that question. Okay? Now we're going to move down to question number 7. Question number 7 says, the length of Jimmy's math book was 17 centimeter cubes. He's reading a book that is 12 centimeters longer. There's an important key word. What is the length of his reading book? All right, so I'm setting up my number bond. I know that his math book is 17 centimeters. And I know that his reading book is 12 centimeters longer. This reading book is 12 centimeters longer. And what I'm trying to find out is what is the length of his reading book. This reading book is, his reading book is 12 centimeters longer. So what am I going to do to solve this problem? I'm setting it up to solve it. I have my number bond here. If I combine these two numbers, I will find out the length of that reading book. So 17 plus 12 would equal 29 centimeters. How did I solve that problem? I broke 12 apart into 9 and 3 because it's going to take me 3 more to get to 17. 17 plus 3 is 20, plus the 9 that I haven't used yet. 20 plus 9 gives me 29, so my reading book is 29 centimeters. That's a pretty good size reading book to be 29 centimeters. And now I need to write a number sentence. Not a number sentence, but I'm going to explain the reading book is 29 centimeters long. There we go, 29 centimeters long. Alrighty then. Well, I didn't think this lesson was going to take that long, but it kind of has. All right, so now, my friends, your next job is you've got your exit ticket, and I'm going to remind my friends, when you do your exit ticket, you need to make sure that your name is on it with your last initial. And you also need to have the date that you did this assignment. So we have Sarah who lined up her centimeter cubes to find the length of the picture of this paintbrush. Sarah thinks that the paintbrush is 5 centimeter cubes long. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're looking at this picture. Here's her centimeter cubes, and you have to say, is her answer correct? So you're either going to say yes, her answer is correct, or you're going to say no, the answer is not correct. And then you have to explain why. Why did you pick yes, or why did you pick no? You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines and a whole bunch of space down here. You need to explain why you think she is either correct at 5 centimeters or why she is incorrect. And then you need to send it to your teacher. Send a picture to your teacher. That's always important for our distance learners, that you need to send a picture to your teacher. Okay? All right, and with that, we are finished with this lesson. I think that was the last page. Yep, that was the last page, and we are officially done. And we'll see you again tomorrow.